Hey guys, Foxx here. So I finally have gotten to take a vacation to Japan. This has been a long-awaited thing that I've always wanted to do. I wanted to go see the sights. I wanted to experience the culture. I wanted to do a little game hunting, look for figures, all that stuff. So it was super excited to do this, and I hopped on that 13-hour flight from Denver all the way to Tokyo and started my journey. Most of the traveling was done through train, and I picked up a Japan Rail Pass, which really saved me probably a good amount of money just to use the same pass to use all the trains and get lost in all the train stations. So first I ended up staying in Shinjuku, and a beautiful city, especially at night. Lots to eat, lots to see. And we checked into our hotel, and in the morning we would go on a journey through the tunnels that were under the city, like the one you see here, that connect to Shinjuku Station, which is horribly confusing and hard to navigate. Even the Japanese have issues with it. The first thing we went to is we started to make our way to the Meiji Jinju Shrine. Sorry if I butcher some pronunciations here. But a lot of beautiful grounds, walking through the pass and seeing all those colorful sake barrels and everything like that. Very quiet areas. Once you got to the shrine, people were doing their prayers and buying those little luck charms and stuff like that. And here's a picture of the shrine itself. There was obviously no filming inside that shrine right there, that temple right there. You can't film inside there, but you can on the outside. I saw a lot of women all dressed up. Later that day, we went over to Shibuya Crossing, and this is what it looks like during the day. Not a lot of people, not too bad. It was pretty cool to see that famous crossing, and all the billboards everywhere, the signs, the TVs, and here it is at night, very lit up, and as you can see down at the bottom there, a crap ton of people, and the nightlife here in Shibuya was pretty crazy. There's all the people. Wandered around, did some shopping, looked around, lots of multi-level malls, like 14, 15 story malls that you'd wander around. We saw the go-karts. You need an international driver's license to do those, but it was cool to see. And then it was ramen time. We did a little ramen tour and ate a ton of ramen, learned all about the different styles of ramen, from shio to miso, tonkatsu, all those different styles of ramens, and it was delicious. I ate tons of ramen. During the tour, we found a little hidden little shrine or temple. It was quite beautiful, especially when it was lit up at night. It was a really nice little thing that was hidden amongst the city. And then we've kept wandering through more train stations here. I can't remember if that was day 2, but found the Wendy's and McDonald's, all that stuff, and it's very different food, a lot smaller food. There's a statue of a hero dog. And yeah, it was pretty wild. Shibuya was very, very, very busy. Most of Tokyo was very, very busy. Unless you went out early in the morning, and then it was very easy to wander around and look at things in the morning, but nothing was open. Things didn't open till 10 or 11 o'clock. A lot of Don Quixotes. It's like their famous it's like a little Walmart. You can buy anything and everything there, and it's all just overwhelming. There's crap everywhere. Lots of stories of different stuff, cosmetics, clothes, luggage, toys, electronics, food. And also tons of arcades. You can see that we're wandering around all the crane games, arcade games, gachapon, capsule machines. Lots of fun. Played quite a few of those games, wasted a lot of yen. But one of a few things that you'll see at the end of the video here. Cool arcades, though. They had a Halo arcade, Luigi's Mansion. There's the Luigi Mansion arcade right there. It was really cool. I didn't really get to play any because we were moving on. Day 2, there's sunrise from our hotel in Shinjuku. Wandering the streets and heading over to take the train to see the Tokyo Sky Tree, tallest building in Japan. And it's really all it is for observation. It's just a tourist trap. That whole building is for that. And it went pretty high. I mean, we went to a deck that was 450 meters up, roughly, I don't know, close to 1,500 feet. And you could see all of Tokyo. It was pretty crazy. It wrapped around the whole building. And you can see how congested actual Tokyo is. There isn't much. You can see little bits and pieces of parks and whatnot. Glass 4, which was pretty trippy there. And then we wandered around near the base of the Sky Tree, looking around the kind of like the downtown area of Tokyo, and went to the Imperial Palace right here. We didn't actually go to the Imperial Palace itself, but we went to the grounds, and then we wandered around the eastern part of the grounds and made our way to the East Gardens here. And look how beautiful that is. So green. And the weather was fantastic while we were there. It's like the low 70s almost the whole time. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful place to wander around. Saw the koi fish, and those were huge koi. Lots of scenery pictures. Hope you guys don't mind. I took quite a few pictures as well. And these are some of the paths around the East Gardens. Very well manicured. One of the biggest things that surprised me in Tokyo was just absolutely how clean it was. For a place that doesn't have trash cans everywhere, it was extremely clean. People just carried their trash with them until they got to either like a train station or a convenience store. And that's where they would dump off their trash. And they just took a lot of care in their city and to make sure that it was clean. I mean, they had a certain level of pride in where they live. It's kind of like the polar opposite of America, where people just throw trash out their window when they're driving the car. So it was a really welcome sight. It was so peaceful and beautiful around there. As you can see, I sat down to take in the views. It was fun looking around and just relaxing. Under Tokyo Station was a big mall, including a Kirby Cafe, which was really cool. I got this little tiramisu cup. I got to keep that little mug and ate a very tasty tiramisu. It was wonderful. And then we were wandering around day 3, and it started to rain. I think this was the only day it rained, and it wasn't too heavy, but everybody has their umbrellas, and you just follow along with the crowd as they do, and you will be just fine. Certain weird rules about some places in Tokyo is like you wander around and you stay on one side of the escalator. Anyway, we went to Yokohama and rode this little side gondola down to an island where there were some museums and shopping. It was pretty cool. It reminded me of the gondolas you see in the mountains. There was a tiny little theme park there with a big Ferris wheel and a roller coaster. Didn't go there. Had some lunch, had some Japanese, some curry, beef curry and rice. It was delicious. And went to the Cup Noodles Museum. It was pretty wild how many different cup noodles were developed. And this is like a timeline wall of all the different cup noodles they ever produced. Here's a picture. It's just pretty wild. There's so many. And at the end, we got to make our own cup noodles flavored. You got to add your own seasoning and like vegetables or little meats and stuff to it to make your own custom cup noodles. It was pretty cool. You got to see the guy seal them up and wrap them up, and there's the station where you got to pick all your stuff you wanted to put in it, and they showed you how they vacuum sealed it, and it's like a little heat shrink wrap, and they put it in this little oven here. And they heated it up, and it looked like a brand new cup noodles you'd buy at the store. It was a pretty cool experience. And it was pretty cheap. All the museums and stuff like that, or like brewery tours and stuff, were really cheap and easy to go and see. I mean, it was worth your money. And boop, there it goes. There it came out. And there's my cup noodles. I'm not sure if I want to eat it yet or if I just want to keep it sealed. Up next, wandered over to the Kirin Brewery and went to their tasting hall and had a few beers, and the place was very gorgeous. There's the inside, and a little statue of their little lion mascot, and looked around the little library and stuff, talking about beer and Japanese history of beer and stuff like that. It was a good time. Had some very delicious beers, and I really enjoy Kirin. It's probably one of my favorite Japanese brand beers. So here's the tasting hall. We wandered in here, had a Kirin Premium there. It was very delicious, super cold. It was yummy. And then a traditional Kirin Ichiban. Yum, yum, yum. Nope, I had to take some pictures of the vending machines that were everywhere. So you were never thirsty. There was always a vending machine you could pop 100 yen coin into and get yourself a random beverage. And then later in that evening, had ramen again. Went to the ramen museum, and this was all inside. It was pretty cool looking. They made it look like 50s Japan. And then everywhere in there, there was just a bunch of ramen stores, and you would have a bowl of ramen here, you'd have a bowl of ramen there, and oh man, it was so good. And they had this little map of Japan, but with ramen bowls. Going back to the train station here on day 4, and I believe, no, we're not hitting the Shinkansen. That's a Shinkansen train over there. And let's see here, and yes, Akihabara. Wandered all day in Akihabara. There was so much to see, so much to do, so much shopping to be had, and lots of sites all over the buildings, billboards of anime, maid cafes, all kinds of stuff like that. It was a blast. We got there fairly early, right when stores were opening up, and just did some shopping. Lots of video game stores, lots of anime stores. I mean, way more anime than the video games. And there were just figures galore. There's just so many. Wandered a little arcade over there. I think it's Gigo. And Gigo is the one that bought out all the Sega arcades there. So Sega's no longer out there with their arcades. It's now Gigo. And just looking around the arcades. Lots of rhythm games. All kinds of crazy ones. And some of your traditional, they have a few candycades, but not very many of those cabinets anymore. Here's Super Potato, which was extremely cramped on the inside. And it was hard to take time to actually shop in there because there's just so many people. I tried to do my best looking through some stuff. And I really only picked up one thing from Super Potato. But it was cool to see, and on the top floor they had their old arcade cabinets, which was pretty cool. All the advertisements for the maid cafes. Didn't do a maid cafe, so I can tell you how those are. Went over to Taito Station, which is the arcade. I believe that's what my earlier footage was from. And there's a big pic of Akihabara from near the train station. Next day, hop on the Shinkansen, which is the bullet train, to head over to Kyoto and get your reserved seats. And before you go on, you usually buy some bento boxes and get some food. And it was delicious. At the train station, they have these little stores that sell these bento boxes of food. And it was yummy. Oh, and my green tea. A water bottle with my buddy. So here we go. There's a train going by. They go by very quick. I mean, these trains were booking 170 to 200 miles per hour. And it was just a smooth, quick ride. I mean, Japan does it right when it comes to public transportation. I mean, better than anywhere I've ever been in my life. So easy. I mean, you can get a little lost in some of those bigger train stations in Tokyo, but you'll find your way. And it's like, if you miss your train, it's okay, because there's going to be another one. Mount Fuji back there, you can see the top of it kind of poking above the clouds. And here we are in Kyoto Station. There's food everywhere, restaurants everywhere, and it's so cheap to eat out. And here's Kyoto, a lot calmer than Tokyo, a lot easier, a lot more people drive into. Here's the Osaka Shrine that we wanted to over that night after we checked into the hotel. Really big shrine area, a lot to see, a lot to wander around and look at. It was very beautiful at night. Here's wandering around the back of the shrine. It was just nice and quiet, and there wasn't people. And then the next day, we woke up early and took the train over to the Inari station and made our way over to, actually, that wasn't the Inari station. I forgot what station, but made it over to the bamboo grove over there. That was pretty cool. It's just like a whole bamboo forest right on the side of Kyoto. It was lots of fun. It was very peaceful, even with all the other people walking. People usually aren't too loud or obnoxious there, so it was very quiet, peaceful. As you get deeper in, you wander outside of the bamboo and get into these like very nice curated gardens. And we found our way to a tea house where they served matcha tea, and it was delicious. And matcha lattes, they like their lattes and their milk teas and stuff like that. And very gorgeous. There it is. It was a matcha latte that I had. Very yummy. And continued to hike around this park here that was just outside of the bamboo grove. Very beautiful. I imagine they have lots of landscapers to keep these gardens gorgeous. There's a little bit of a view of Kyoto that you can see, and the neighboring mountains and hills. Taking another train, and I believe we're making our way to Hardoff this time. It was just fun. It was easy to ride the trains. It was a very good time. And here we are, found a Hardoff that wasn't in Tokyo, so the prices are going to be more fair. So here's a quick look around. I wanted to take advantage while nobody was over in this section and just took a quick video. You can see the Famicom, Super Famicom loose games, and then they had lots of modern games over there, and the consoles and the cabinets. My buddy picked up a Final Fantasy 16 DualSense controller there for really cheap. Some things weren't very cheap there, like handhelds like Game Boys and stuff like that are not cheap there. They are more expensive than they are in the States. But I've fished through this bin here, through all those PC Engine and PC Engine CD games, and picked out a few you'll see at the end of the video. And then was time for the sake tour. So got to go to a very famous sake museum over in Kyoto. They were barreling up a barrel of sake right there. Watched him do that for a little while. And then they had these little like cedar balls. I forgot what they were called, and they're hung above her, and that's how they tell how long it takes for the sake to be done, is watching those cedar balls. These are some of the favorite ones that I had. I really like that Studio Number 4. It's a cold sake, and it was just delicious. And then later we went over to a sake house and got to try 18 bottles or different tastes of sake. Oh, it was so yummy. Anyway, day 7, we headed over to Osaka, which was not that long, maybe a 30-minute train ride. And here's a Pokemon Center, and along with, it was very busy, and the Nintendo store Osaka over here. I picked up just a couple small things from these stores, as they were very busy and I couldn't really take my time, but I did pick up a few small things at these Nintendo stores. And then nearby, we decided to stop by Osaka Castle, as you can see there in the background. Very, very awesome. Beautiful grounds, very busy. That guy was amazing. I stood there and listened to him play for quite a while. I love that jam. It was pretty cool. And then we headed over to the Asahi Brewery over in Osaka. Did the full tour here, actually, of the actual brewery itself, and saw the whole process. And they had quite the tourism path to go down. It was pretty interesting. But couldn't do a lot of filming in there. But it was a good time. It was pretty unique. They had this, they're super dry, one of their more popular beers. And they had this little virtual ride you can go on. And then at the end you got to have some nitro extra cold beer. And then they put this little, the beer museum in the foam logo. It was pretty interesting. And then that night, headed over to Dotonbori, famous. I remember all of this from when I was playing Yakuza Like a Dragon. Looking around, I was like, "Where's Ichiban? Where's Ichi?" Very busy there, very crazy, very nightlife style city. Lots of good food. Tried those, was it takoyaki, the little octopus hush puppy things. Those were pretty good, actually. I enjoyed those, and they had different ones there. They put different sauces on them and stuff like that. There was a giant Don Quixote there with a little capsules style Ferris wheel. There's the famous running guy, and here's a good shot of the little river that runs down it. It was a good time. Next day, made our way over to the Fushimi Inari Shrine. Very popular for all the red torii gates that you would walk through on the hike up the mountain, so you can get to the top of the shrine. And man, it was gorgeous. It was crazy. There's just so many, thousands of these torii gates. It was pretty wild. And apparently every single one of those torii gates was sponsored by a person or business company or whatnot who were in charge of maintaining their torii gates. So you saw some that weren't as maintained as well, but some were. But anyway, Inari is, for Foxx, so this is their Foxx shrine. So I had to go here, obviously. But it was a long hike. My feet were already kind of hurting a little bit. But it was well worth it. And I got these gorgeous photos without actual people being in them. So very, very, very beautiful. Probably one of my favorite places to visit. And then later that day, we went and had a tea ceremony, a traditional Japanese tea ceremony, where you got to have a little bit of sweets and make your own matcha tea. And you got to see the very specific ways they did it and took care. It was more of a meditation. And that was it. And on our way out from the plane, got this gorgeous sunset. And there's Mount Fuji. You got to actually see Mount Fuji not obstructed by clouds on our way out.
All right, guys. Now it's time for the pickups from my trip to Japan here. I'm going to start with a few things that I got from the Nintendo store. I went to both the Osaka location and the Kyoto location, which was just recently opened up. I had to get a ticket, a little pass first, and I had to come back a couple hours later just to get in there. It was pretty interesting, and it was pretty chaotic, tons of people. But I didn't pick anything up big while I was there. A lot of stuff that I really didn't care to have. A lot of accessories and cups and bowls and pillows and stuff like that. So, but I did grab a few things from those locations. I got a lot of pins actually, and I picked up a Zelda pin. Got the Triforce there. But yeah, I enjoy nice pins, so I picked up a few pins. I got a Kirby pin, and this one has the multi-colors on it. Your black, your red, and I think blue. So, useful. I picked up a badge holder, as I use a badge at my work, so this will be nice, and it's the Zelda-themed one. It comes with the little extender. And lastly, more pins. I got all these colored Mario pins, but I really enjoy because I like the little Marios all over the different colors here. This will probably be mostly used by my son. He likes to do a lot of writing and drawing, so he'll probably end up using these. I also picked up a Nintendo Kyoto shirt, but that's upstairs. It's just red with the Nintendo logo on it, and it says Kyoto right underneath it. Alright, up next, when I went to the Tower Records in Shibuya, wandered around there and looked at all the music, and they had a pretty sizable video game music section, and here I found a CD that I've been wanting to pick up, and it's Octopath Traveler 2 Break and Boost Volume 2. So this has to do with Octopath Traveler 2's music, and this is just like different arrangements of tracks from the soundtrack. So looking forward to listening to this one, and some of these tracks might actually be in this video. I don't know yet. Hopefully. I picked up one Japanese Switch game while I was wandering around Akihabara, and this one was really cheap, and it's a game I've been eyeballing a little bit, and it's called Gal Guardians in the US, and in Japan it's called Grim Guardians, and it's kind of like a little like Castlevania style game. But it's pretty fun. It's enjoyable. It's sprite based, and it's got a little bit of difficulty to it, but I played it for a good probably 5-6 hours. I got decently far in it, but and then I just set it down. But I got it really cheap, equivalent to about maybe $17-18 there. So I thought it was a pretty good deal. It definitely beat out Amazon's price. So, and when I stuck the little Japanese cart into the Switch, it immediately changed it to the English version, so no problems there. If there's an English version of the game that exists, at least on the store, Nintendo store, it will change it, which is really nice. And a little like a just odds and goods, like kind of like a thrift store, but it was all like anime and video game stuff. I found this, which I'm really excited about, and it's this Dragon Quest clock with a dragon pendulum on it. I thought this was really cool. I love clocks, and I really love video game themed clocks, so I went ahead and picked this up. It was nice and cheap too, about $12. So I'll hang this one up in the game room here, and maybe I'll show a little picture of it here as well, if I remember to do so. Up next are the retro pickups that I found at either like Super Potato or another retro game store I found in Akihabara, or Hard Off or Book Offs, as I visited a few Book Offs and Hard Offs. First up, I picked up for pretty cheap, it was like maybe $30, was an original Game & Watch for Popeye. It's a little beat up, but it works fine, and the screen is still good, and no battery corrosion in the battery compartment, so happy to add that. I know I got this at Super Potato, but a lot of things at Super Potato in Akihabara were kind of pricey. Most of the things in Tokyo were pricey video game wise. But I did find this for $30, and it's a complete in-box original Kirby. I thought this was cool to add to the Game Boy collection, to have the original Japanese release of Kirby. I believe I found these at a hard off in Kyoto, and it's a couple Super CD-ROM, so TurboGrafx CD games, and I got a Puyo Puyo game, Puyo Puyo CD, I believe. So I'm sure everybody's familiar with the puzzle game Puyo Puyo, so I figured I'd pick up a couple because I did order a analog duo, so they should be easy enough to play. And the second one, something that probably Manboy Cave will like, is Shin Megami Tensei on the Super CD. Love that artwork, that's pretty good. I wasn't aware that they actually released this on Turbo CD here. No, not in the States, but in Japan. I knew it was a Super Famicom game, but I did not know it got a CD release as well. So, came with the manual here. I'm not sure if it's supposed to have a second disc or something here, or like a soundtrack or something, but it was empty, so I think it's complete. At a book off, I found the rest of these games at various book offs, and I found a few complete in-box Super Famicom games. First one is the original Star Ocean. I like this box art a lot. I think this would be, if anything, a really good display piece. And these were pretty cheap. I think I got this for, it was 3,500 yen, so roughly $27. So yeah, that was cool. And these next two I found for even less. I think they were 2,000 yen a piece, so roughly 14 bucks. We got the first Breath of Fire. Love this cover art, very cool. And they got the manuals and everything. And Breath of Fire 2. Very awesome art. I mean, I already have these for the Super Nintendo, but I pretty much got them for the boxes. And last off, I found these for dirt cheap. I mean, I'm talking 900 yen, so $6. And it's the first two original releases for Trails of Cold Steel. Cool box art, came with the game, and this is a little soundtrack CD, so that's what's in these. Really nice boxes though, these were really good condition. And for that price, I'll add them to the Trails cabinet collection. Here's the second one. Alright, up next we got some figures and bips and bobs and whatnot. So in the Gachapon machines, I got a lot of little capsules, and most of them I got for my son. Is various like Minecraft stuff and other crap that he likes. But I got these guys from a little Jack Frost Gachapon machine. So I got two Jack Frosts. I got one where he's just waving hello, and a running one. So I thought those would be cool for the shelf. And at this is like a figure reseller store, so it's all a bunch of like used figures, and there was thousands of them everywhere. And this was at on top floor of one of the buildings in Akihabara. But I found a really nice figure of Pyrojack. I thought this was awesome. He's one of my favorite demons from Shin Megami Tensei. So I thought that was really cool to find. Here's his base. But not a bad price. I believe I paid, I think his mark was 4,200 yen. So, I don't know, 30 something dollars. I thought it was a pretty good deal, and I really like that. Oh, here's another Gachapon find. For Pokemon, my favorite Pokemon is Vulpix for obvious reasons. But I got this little like fall themed Vulpix. He's sitting on some fall leaves and they're falling around. There's one on his nose. And I also, at the Pokemon Center, I picked up a small Vulpix plush. So a lot of their pluses were huge, but there was a Pokemon Center under Tokyo Station, the train station. They have like a big ass mall under there, and there was a Pokemon Center in there, along with that that Kirby Cafe that you saw. And they had like original 151 small plushes there, like almost all of them. So I got a Vulpix. This was funny. I found this in a I don't know, just some random like kind of like a geek store there. And they had a bunch of Elden Ring stuff, and I picked up this little for 550 yen. It's for Elden Ring, but it is for the messages that like you would see on the ground and stuff. So you can write a message on these, and it's just a bunch of them. Leave them places. Mark them as good or poor. I thought it was kind of funny and cute, so pick those up. And lastly, I won a figure in one of the UFO catcher games. It took a few tries, but I got it, and there are so many unique UFO catcher games in different ways that you win prizes. And this one was based on like kind of knocking it off a shelf, and it was like a one-armed UFO. It was pretty unique, and this one was almost coming off, so I went ahead and stuck in a few hundred yen, and was able to knock it down and won it. And it's from Demon Slayer, this chick, Kametsu no Yoba, or Mitsuri Kanjiroji. I don't remember. I've seen a lot of Demon Slayer, but I just don't remember her name. So, sorry about that. I guess I'll add her to the anime shelf. A little trinket of winning a UFO catcher game in Japan. So, a lot of fun. So yeah, guys, there you have it. All my pickups, game gots, and whatnot, boops and bobs and all that stuff from my trip to Japan. Alright guys, thanks for watching.